Now we are going to look at factorising quadratics when a is equal to 1. So when you factorise quadratics, remember that essentially what you are doing is putting the quadratic expression into two brackets, like so. So in one bracket you have x plus 3, then in the other brackets you have x plus 7. This is an example of factorising quadratics expression. So let's look at this one here. So we have x squared plus 5x plus 6. So first thing what we do when we factorise a quadratic in this sort of format, so this quadratic expression is in the format of ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b and c are numbers. So for instance here, for this x squared plus 5x plus 6, so our a is 1, our b is 5, and our c is 6. So first of all, what we need to do is we need to find two numbers that times to make our c, so our number at the end, which for this instance is 6, but it also has to add to make the number in the middle, so our b, which is in this instance 5. And in order to do that, we need to, well, write down our list of our factors of 6. So we have 1 and 6, and 2 and 3. So if we see 1 and 6 does not add to make 5, but 2 and 3 does, so our two numbers are going to be 2 and 3. And then normally what you could do is essentially split the 5x into 2. So split the 5x into x squared plus 2x plus 3x plus 6. And only would factorize again. But for this method, for this sort of question here, when your a is 1, essentially your numbers inside your brackets is always going to be those two numbers that you found that times to make 6 and add to make 5. So for instance, in this one of your brackets is going to be x add 2, so that positive 2. And in the other brackets is going to be x add 3. And that is it, factorized. So let's look at this one here. So we have x squared minus 7x plus 10. We have to find a number that times to make our number at the end, so our 10. Remember, 10 is our c, our b is negative 7, and our a is 1. So times to make 10, but adds to make our middle number, which is negative 7. So we need to think of our factors of 10. So you have 1 and 10, 2 and 5. Remember that for two numbers to multiply to make a positive number, they don't necessarily have to be positive numbers. Remember, for two numbers to multiply to make a positive number, they can either both be positive or both be negative. So for this instance here, we can do minus 2 times minus 5 because two negatives makes a positive. And this one here, so if we do minus 2 add minus 5, a plus and a minus makes a minus. So essentially you're doing minus 2 minus 5, which you get as minus 7. And then once we found out our two numbers, so in one of the brackets it's going to be x minus 2 because we've got that minus 2 here. And then the next one is going to be x minus 5. This one here, x squared minus 4x minus 12. So our a in this instance is our 1, our b is negative 4, and our c is negative 12. Okay, so we need to work out two numbers that times to make our c, which is negative 12, and adds to make our b, which is negative 4. Factors of 12 is 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. So because it has to times, the two numbers have to times to make negative 12, that means that one of our numbers needs to be a positive number and the other one needs to be a negative number. So for this instance here, it would be negative 6 and positive 2. Because if you start from negative 6 and you go up by 2, you get negative 4. Therefore, when we factorize, we should get an answer of x minus 6, so that negative 6, and an x plus 2, because we've got positive 2 there. Okay, now let's look at this one here. So our a is 1, our b is negative 2, and our c is negative 15. So we need to work out two numbers that times to make our number at the end, our c, which is negative 15, and adds to make our number in the middle, which is negative 2, our b. Factors of 15 include 1 and 15, and 3 and 5. Because it has to times to make negative 15, that means that one of our number has to be positive and the other one has to be negative. So here it would be negative 5 and 3. And then when we factorize it into our double brackets, one of them is going to be x minus 5, so that negative 5, and x plus 3, that positive 3 there.